Ali Santana, who's been with us for the past 2.5 weeks in our new media artist in residency program. Ali Santana is a multidisciplinary artist from Brooklyn, New York, who draws inspiration from community, nature, ritual, ancient technology, and hip-hop culture. His work combines time-based media, rhythmic storytelling, and emerging technologies to create immersive experiences that explore history, identity, and Black abstract improvisational traditions. Ali is faculty at NYU's Tisch Interactive Telecommunications Program, Interactive Media Arts Program, and is recognized for his educational contributions to MoMA and Apple. He's a member of the Onassis, Onyx Studio, and Santana Project, a family of artists spanning generations and disciplines. Isn't it great, like, hearing about you when you're sitting right behind me? We'll hear from Ali for roughly the next 45 minutes, with some time for questions at the end. For any online people, please use the chat feature. If you're in the studio with us, welcome. Thank you for being here. Please help me in welcoming Ali Santana.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm gonna mute the music real quick. But yeah, good to be here and good to see you all. There's some folks in the studio here, and I'm on Zoom as well, so I'm gonna try to do my best to kind of make eye contact with everybody every now and then. But yeah, my name is Ali Santana. I'm gonna share my screen also, so y'all can see what I'm talking about here. Yeah, there we go. My name is Ali Santana. I am a multidisciplinary artist and educator. I also go by Boombaye, or Professor Boombaye, which is my stage name, my artist name as well. And I just want to talk a little bit about my practice before I show you all what I kind of been working on during my time here at the IEA. Just pulling up my website real quick. This is my website where you can see some more projects that I've worked on in the past. Probably need to update it, but it's a mixture of like immersive installation, music video, video art, sound art as well. You can check that out at alisantana.com. Yeah, I'm an educator. I work currently at NYU at the ITP IMA program, where I teach classes in audiovisual storytelling, performance, time-based media, etc. This is actually a picture of me back in the day at Culture Hub teaching a class. I'm also part of a family of artists. This is the Santana Project. I'm pictured here on the left. Next to me is my mother, Marilyn Nance, photographer. Next to her, my father, Alfred Santana, who is a filmmaker and a painter, and my sister, Rafia Santana, who is also a multimedia artist and performer. We have two other additions to the Santana Project, Stephanie Santana, who is a textile printmaking artist, and Allende Santana. So ever since I was young, I would express myself through art. This was encouraged, by my parents. They would drag me to all types of different openings and art exhibits, and as a kid, I'd be bored, and I'd often complain and whine about having to be somewhere I didn't want to be. My parents always brought pen and paper with them, and if I got bored, they would say, draw something, express yourself. And I found this drawing on a napkin in our family archives, and it just kind of spoke to me. I scanned it. I wound up putting it on a T-shirt. But it looks like I was angry, when I made this image. I'd written my name. It also says no mommy no, so I was probably angry at my mother for some reason. But this kind of spoke to me because I've always expressed myself through creativity in some form. It's always been about taking what I'm feeling and putting that through art in some way or another. As I got older and the family, we got our first computer, I really got interested in using technology as a form of expression, or using the tools that the computer could provide to make things happen. And I was really excited by being able to use a computer to make sound or images or animation, things that I'd only seen on TV or in entertainment. And so this was my first introduction to digital art. What is this, an Apple Plus computer. This looks like an ancient artifact right now, but this was actually like the very beginning of me getting started in, sorry, I lost my navigator. Getting started with creating on a computer. But even ever since, I've always just been interested in collage. Even without a computer, I've always found a power in taking things that exist already and kind of mixing them together, assembling them in time and space, and creating new stories out of pre-existing media and images. These are some examples of collages that I've done way back in the day, where I've mixed cutouts from magazines, or on the right is a kind of a remix of a New York City MTA transit map that I've superimposed my face on and made that piece called Bana System. I've also just been involved in creating collage in general. I love to do it. It's a way of thinking through projects and ideas, and these are some of the collages I've made over the years. But I've taken that interest in collage and being able to mix pieces together, and I wanted to bring that into like animation or time-based media. And I really got into music videos. I've always been able to visualize music in a way. And when I was first learning motion graphics, here's a quick story. I went to FIT, the Fashion Institute of Technology, and my major there was computer animation. And it was mostly 3D animation. And I wasn't really feeling 3D like that. I was more prone to, like 3D takes a lot of time. It's very tedious. You have to render, you have to light, you have to model, you have to rig, you have to do all of these things before you can see a full, picture. And I wanted to do something that took less time and that I could do by myself. And I really got interested in motion graphics. And at that time, green screen music videos were really, really popular, being able to shoot the subject on green screen and then change the background to whatever you wanted. And instead of doing 3D animation for my senior thesis, I decided to do a music video on green screen. And a friend of mine, Spec Boogie, or Robert Cave, shout out to Robert Cave, had this music that really spoke to me. And so I made this music video, my first music video called No Knock, which incorporated these collage techniques using photos from my mom's archive, and it's kind of following the story. And the story of the song, and here's a clip of that video.
Liberty is closed because she no longer knows what she's doing over here, and she's sick of getting fucked through politics. Kids getting knocked for graffiti. Get away with murder if you're NYPD. Now tell me what's a bigger quality of life crime than getting cut down before you hit your life's prime. And every young man with skin like mine is a prime suspect in a post headline. I ain't even did nothing and they got me on the run. Rookies are R. Kelly, they swear they saw a gun. They don't know what they saw him make a move. Mom Dukes was with Sharp, then on the new.
Right, so that was the first clip. That was using like motion graphics and After Effects in 3D space. My professors told me that they would fail me if I didn't make a 3D project, so putting these images in 3D space was kind of like my workaround, my way to get past that. I did not fail. I did really well in the course. But that led me to wanting to make more videos and use different techniques and styles. Side note, after this, I became a motion graphics artist, which was, early in my career. I wound up working for MTV for a long time in the on-air promos department, making animations and commercials for MTV shows. And that was really great and interesting. But on the side, I would direct music videos. And here's one of my favorite music videos, very, low budget and DIY, but this is a music video for Elucid, who is now a member of Arm & Hammer. They have an NPR Tiny Desk not too long ago. But I really got into the idea of abstraction and making things that didn't fit the traditional design mold. I hated designing to a grid. I hated the idea that there was a right and wrong way to design. And I really got interested in abstraction and making things messy. And at this time, glitch art was really a big interest of mine, and data moshing and kind of recreating these pixelated images and transitions. And this video kind of came out of that.
You take me as I come, to me as I come. My heart, there's only one. You're strong when I am weak. I'm making space for whatever it is you need to be. You're soft when you're with me.
So I really love that video because I was just like really in the details of that. I had a great time matching every single sound and transition to some kind of like visual transition. And I was duplicating frames, I was cutting things out. It was really like a project where I was collaging the source material that I shot. And every single cut and transition is on beat, which is kind of like my signature, my thing that I love to do. And then from there, you know, still making music videos. This one is for Stretch and Bobbito, featuring the Wu-Tang Clan. If y'all don't know, Stretch and Bobbito are New York radio legends, and they were responsible for kind of debuting the work or starting the careers of so many like amazing hip hop artists like Jay-Z, Wu-Tang, Big L, so many more. Kind of got their start freestyling on their radio show. And so for this project, Bobbito asked me to look through his archives of like footage that he had shot or that was taken from around the time that the show was on the air, and kind of take references from music videos from the Wu-Tang Clan and create this animated video for the remix to one of their tracks. And this was like a really fun project.
Run wild in Midtown, hit the ground quick. Mad bodies being lost and found, no one can stop me, cause that's the stick. You know error, one thing, I bring the MCs and be terror. King dirt, assumptions, I be the expert. Get a hole in your shirt, John, I do work. Cold space, maxing in a hall of fame place. Suicidal blends that kick like North Lake. Surviving, crazy live when I flips the track. I hit a reverend in the head with a bat. And through his head in the showcase, in the glass box with no case. You did it.
Hey, space, funky rap, rotating the tax and chores. Bunch of sweaty boys that you still can't score. Nothing, cause you ain't got no voice in this game. Frontin', I'm home run hitting, you be running. Fresh out the toilet, I got my together. When I'm good, bad, bad.
All right, I'll stop it there. But that was a really, really fun project. I think this was like during the pandemic that we were working on this. And where I'm usually working on music videos solo and DIY, this one required me to like reach out to some friends who are also working. So shout out to Steve Tapia, Nick Brovkin, Linda McCrae, Leo Gibbs, a lot of my friends who are also working in film and motion graphics, who helped me with the animation. And this was a collage in all types of sorts. Not only were we pulling from like archival imagery and archival video and then kind of tracing over certain frames, but then we had different animators working in different styles and collage all of their work together, and it just created this really dynamic piece that I'm really proud of. And so I think this is like the last music video I made. I kind of moved on from music videos since, and I've just been experimenting with other things, right? Audiovisual performance has always been super exciting to me. Seeing like, going to a concert, you see projection mapping, or you see, actually the first concert where I ever saw live visuals was like Deadmau5. When I worked for MTV, we used to get free concert tickets every now and then, and they offered free tickets to go see Deadmau5, and I didn't know what to expect. And if you don't know, Deadmau5 is like an electronic artist who wears a giant, like kind of like Mickey Mouse head mask, but also is controlling like the audio and the visual from inside of this helmet. And when I went to go see that show, I was just really amazed at how the audio and the video were in sync at all moments. And I was witnessing how like the audience was also super engaged and enthralled and really affected by the fact that the audio and the video were tight. And they seemed like they were having like religious experiences. And I wanted to do that. You know, I wanted to be able to control the audio and the video live on stage. And this wasn't really something I could do with motion graphics or music videos, because you're editing on a timeline, and you have to make all of your decisions, you know, kind of in a linear fashion. And I wanted to improvise and be able to change things on the fly. So I got interested in audiovisual performance and kind of taking this computer equipment that was traditionally used for post-production and now bringing it live and on stage. And here's a clip from Roulette Intermedium, which is a venue in Brooklyn, New York, and they have a festival called, I'm forgetting the name right now of this festival. I think it's in the video, but I'm going to play the Mixology Festival. I'm going to play a clip from one of my early performances. Right, so this was like really kind of another moment for me to know that I could do this on stage and to make these changes. And I had strobe lights and I was changing effects and triggering samples live. And at one point I had the strobe and I saw somebody get up and leave after doing that. And, you know, I wasn't offended, but I was like, yo, I have the power to make somebody get up and leave or to change their decision. I could do things and it could affect, it was interactive. People would change what they were doing because of what I was doing. And that was a really powerful kind of moment for me. And so, yeah, I've been experimenting with performance and kind of video art and incorporating all of these things together, not only collaging archival material, but things that I've been making, but just kind of mixing together technology and workflows. I'm always excited about creating new workflows and new ways of working. And so this residency here at the IEA has been really great for that. And these are kind of like my core tenets for my creative practice. I don't know if we can see all of it on screen. Let me see if I can scroll down. But the biggest thing is play, right? If I'm not playing, I'm not really working. So I have to play. I have to be excited. I have to be, you know, curious. I have to be able to like mix and match everything. That's my style, to spread everything out and just kind of work. Improvisation is really important. I hate going from a script. I love to be able to switch things up last minute or make a decision. Or my definition of improvisation is just creativity in real time, being able to switch things up. Resourcefulness. I will use every resource available to me. You know, if there's something, you know, in the studio, I want to learn how it works. I want to see how that can work for my practice. Collaboration is super important, being able to work with others and kind of brainstorm and figure things out. Even if I'm just talking to somebody else, we can work through a problem better than if I can do it on my own. Experimentation is kind of like just willing to be wrong, you know, and make mistakes and figure it out from there. Collage, of course, we talked about that. Documentation is super important. Also documenting the process and, you know, how you started a project to where you wound up in the end. It's really amazing to see that. Mindfulness is a fairly new one, just being aware of, like, you know, my own health and whatever. I can't pull all-nighters like I used to. I really want to, but like I'm not functional the next day, so I really have to be mindful of like when I've hit my limit. And then in the corner here is radical imagination, just kind of being able to think outside of any bounds and not try to correct myself while I am creating, just kind of letting things flow. So yeah, it's also been a mixture of mixing conceptual thinking with technical skills. I have this idea, I have this thing I'm thinking about, or maybe I'm reading something, or I'm researching, or I'm studying, but then also matching that with like, oh, I got this interest in, well, how does this new program work? Or how does this new gear work? And trying to find a connection between those two things, those two ideas. It's really important. And then mixing that, you know, with this idea of free association. Is if I have one idea, like kind of just going to the next one from there, right? If I'm thinking about clouds, maybe the next thought after that is birds. Maybe the next thought after that is nests. Maybe the next thought after that is, you know, whatever it might be. Thermostat, who knows? And just kind of going off of that progression. And I guess here is a definition that I found online. Free association is the expression of the content of consciousness without censorship as an aid in gaining access to the unconscious process. So whenever you get in like a flow state or you're working, you don't even know where these ideas are coming from, that's that part I want to get to. And I'm always really excited about getting to that, you know, that point in my flow state. I got some other slides here. I'm not going to show those. This is a course I teach at NYU called Alter Egos. I'm also really interested in masquerade. I won't really talk about that right now, but I love making costumes and masks, kind of doing things from different personas. But this is a quote I love from Miles Davis: "Do not fear mistakes because there are none." Right? I think he also famously said, "If you play a wrong note, play it again. It's not wrong anymore." Right? You did that intentionally. And here's some notes from the archive, which is something that, you know, I've been thinking about a lot. My family has been thinking about archiving, particularly my mom, who I'm going to quote right here. Marilyn Nance says, 1, keep the archive safe. 2, organize the archive. 3, make the archive accessible. And so by working with archival materials, to me, I'm studying, but I'm also preserving. I'm also learning about the archive and trying to keep it safe, but also exposing it and exploring it, you know, my own way. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. Right, this goes along with there are no mistakes. When you're working with digital files or on the computer, you have Command Z, right? You can do anything. So I just often have to remind myself that there are no mistakes here. All right, we're going to talk about radical imagination again, and I love this quote from Sun Ra, who is a prolific free jazz artist. He says, "The possible has been tried and failed. Now it's time to try the impossible." And I really think that this is the time to really embrace this quote, you know, this time in history, this time in the world. And I'm going to end this presentation with another quote from my namesake, you know, from Muhammad Ali. If my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it. So basically, if you can visualize something, if you can come up with something in your head, then you can bring that into the real world, right? So these are kind of like the core fundamentals of my practice. This is a little bit of history about what I've done in the past and, you know, how I've gotten to this point here, to this point now. And so I just want to show y'all a little something of what I've been working on here at the IEA at Alfred University. First of all, the studio is amazing. I'm like surrounded by screens and technology and gear and video switchers and a Euro rack and all types of gadgets and things, which I love. And my mission has just been to try everything, or as much as possible, see what I can connect together. I think one of my first questions was like, you know, tell me what can I break it? You know, let me know how not to break it. And they were basically like, you can't break anything. So I've been like plugging everything into one thing and trying to figure out a workflow for myself. And I have been working on a project while I was here titled Black Man with a Movie Camera. And this is a project where I'm taking my father's film archives. He shot a bunch of 16mm film, Super 8 film that he has in his archive that I've always heard about. I've never seen a lot of these films. And recently we had these films digitized, and I've just been watching some of his early experimental films and some of his travel films, and just trying to understand or see an era kind of through his lens from before I was even born. And this has been like a really exciting project for me. I'm gonna pull up a little bit of it here. So this is DaVinci Resolve. This is a nonlinear editing application, one that I really love because it's free. And I always tell my students, like, yo, eventually your student membership to Adobe is gonna run out. Oh, is it not sharing? Oh, it's not sharing on Zoom, got it. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me share this on Zoom. Cool, right, so we see it on Zoom. So this is DaVinci Resolve, and I've just been going through different films that we digitized and watching them, and just have been really amazed by some of the subject matter and some of the shots and things that I've been seeing. I've been recognizing folks. I've been, you know, it feels like a time capsule that I've opened up. And looking at footage that was shot in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, and just kind of studying it, right? Scrubbing through, and I'm going to turn the volume down here. And looking at interesting shots. This one particular film was called Workin' or Slavin', and my dad was a cinematographer for this documentary about like the prison industrial complex. And so there's so many shots of just like this monotonous labor, you know, inside of a prison. And it's got voiceover and interviews in it. And I was just kind of captivated by the different shots that were in here. For one thing, I love loops, right? I love audio loops as part of my sound practice, making beats. But I love visual loops as well. And I noticed that so many of these shots could be loops. And so I went through the whole film, and I made cuts at different points in the film that I thought were interesting, and then started to make visual loops out of them, which I'll show you in a second. I think I have to share my screen again. But I use a program, another software called Resolume Arena. And Arena is used as like a VJ software for folks who are doing like projection mapping and live concert visuals. It's really great to be able to select clips or, you know, even generative clips and one second here, and make the visual performances using them. Let me share this screen again. Cool. So in Arena, I took all of those clips that I'd edited or selected in DaVinci Resolve, and then I started to make loops out of them. So I'm going to clear my screen here and just kind of show you some of the loops. I've got a bunch of effects on it too, so I'm going to turn off my effects. Right, so this is one loop that I found. I love a seamless loop or a repeating loop, or one that can go back and forth. I come from the early days of like animated GIFs and even Tumblr, and I used to just love making loops. But loops go so well with VJing because you can just have a clip play forever, and then you can mix and layer your compositions as well. So this is one of the loops that I was making, and it just made me like kind of meditate on this idea of labor. You know, and think about labor in the United States. It also made me question the labor that I do, you know. And I just made all of these different loops of, you know, machines, of people just working at machines. But was also studying the cinematography, the camera moves, et cetera, and just kind of experimenting, but studying, right? I'm not necessarily VJing, but I'm just going through here and finding images that loop well. I think this is maybe one of them that I liked. All right. And then the next step was I started to kind of combine these images or mix them together to layer them and composite them into new things. But one breakthrough that I had was that while I'm working, I'm also making beats. So next to the computer that I have like 2 beat machines. I have a Roland SP404. That's a sampler, and then I also have an Ableton Move machine where I can make beats and drum patterns. And often I'll just make a loop and leave it running in the background while I'm editing or while I'm working. And so Ableton has a feature called Ableton Link that allows you to link different software or link the BPM of different software over your Wi-Fi connection. So if you have a DJ application or if you have a VJ application, there's often an Ableton Link like button that will link all of the softwares to the same beats per minute, the same tempo. And so I figured out when I was making the beats over here, it'd be a certain tempo. If I enabled Ableton Link, I also had Ableton Link available in Resolume. And then I had these different loops that I was making controlled by the BPM of the beats that I was making. So the music was actually in sync with the visuals at one point. And so if I changed the speed of the music, it would also change the speed of the videos that were playing. And so I experimented a bunch, and I found out that I was making a new film or a new video, a remix, at the same time that I was making the audio. And so this was a little bit of a breakthrough for me. Actually, on Sunday, I was here till like 5 a.m. kind of playing around. I wanted to show some of the results of what I was working on. Give me a second to share my screen again. And I'm going to share this video here. So I'm gonna end it there. But yeah, this was like really exciting because now I started to layer and kind of work with the different images that I was studying, but now playing with texture and color and seeing how these images combine together, but also at the same time just thinking about, you know, everything that I was seeing. So in the very beginning of this video, there was some travel footage of my dad's trip to China in the 70s, and that was really, you know, interesting to look at. You know, especially seeing like how advanced technologically China has become now versus what it looked like in the 70s. It was like a really interesting kind of juxtaposition, right? Then the work in a slave inn, kind of looking at the prison industrial complex was interesting, and there were these clips of these prisoners making license plates and then like superimposing that over, you know, the silhouette of his face, and just like, I don't know, something about, you know, being ID'd or identification kind of came to me. So just playing with these different ideas and collaging and mixing in real time using video and then audio with the beats was really exciting, you know, in this way. And I'm still going, right? I still have some more time to kind of experiment and just trying to figure out what other workflows, what other technology I can bring into this system to continue to create. And yes, so here we have like a Eurorack synthesizer, and been trying to crack the code on that, trying to figure out how to incorporate that as well. But also we have these video cameras here, and I've been recording and documenting my process. But really looking to see, really kind of defining an aesthetic during this period, trying to work and improvise and just to see what I can get. So this has been super exciting, you know, for me. I'm like, what else can I show? Or should I open it up for questions, you know, at this point, if there are any? Okay, cool. Yeah, y'all got questions?
First off, thank you.
Boys, yeah.
Does anybody want to kick it off with a question? If not, I got one.
Okay, cool. Hey.
So, yeah, I mean, this is really impressive and amazing. So thank you for the presentation.
Well, thank you.
I was really interested about when you shared your relationship with performing.
Mm.
Like you said, if you're not playing, you're not, I think you said working.
Yeah.
I myself also a performer, and I work with technology. So I was wondering if you can kind of go deeper into that and how you feel that way, or what took you to feel that way. If that makes sense.
Okay, so the question was about performing and how that relates to my process,
Yes.
or how I'm working. Yeah. Yeah, going back to the quote, if I'm not playing, I'm not working. I gotta, if I'm playing, I'm excited about something, I'm experimenting, and I think that's where the best results come from. And so I found also that performing live is like just kind of documenting that workflow of playing, but doing it in front of an audience. The live performance aspect of it, though, is really exciting because I often will do different things than I would do in a studio by myself. If I know I have an audience, I'm making different decisions that I would not make in the studio. And so that pressure or that excitement makes me do things way outside of like the box that I'm usually contained in. And so performance is actually a way of like, it's a generative process. It's like me taking the vibes of the people who are in the room and reincorporating that into the decisions and the things that I'm doing, you know, with software or hardware. And so, yeah, it's super exciting to me. I'm always nervous about performances too. Like I'm never like totally calm about it. And so part of the process is also what kind of fuels, you know, the creativity in a sense. And when I'm done, I'm always like, I feel better in a way that I've gotten past that point, but I'm also excited because like now I have new ideas about what else I can do. So performance and work and play are very much intertwined, for me now. And even teaching, even being in front of a class is a performance, right? And often I'm like, yeah, you got to think about, if I'm giving advice about art or art making, I'm like, yeah, I should probably take my own advice. So just the act of saying things to an audience makes me have to rethink and bring those ideas back into my own practice. So it's a reminder as well. Yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I can just do a follow-up to that.
Sure.
Because it made me think about, you mentioned the error, the mistake,
Mhm.
mistakes. I love that quote from Miles too.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you take the mistakes that we make in performance, like mistakes,
Mhm.
improvisation arts, in that whole process?
Yeah, you can't say, oops, I made a mistake during a performance. You got to keep going or improvise, and that's the best part about learning to improvise. It's like you build on top of that mistake, or you make that mistake into something that's intentional now. And instead of being embarrassed by it, you have to be kind of creative and curious about how you can change that into something else. So that also goes like hand in hand with mindfulness, about just being a little easier on yourself. Like instead of being like, oh, I made a mistake, being like, oh, I had this opportunity to make something different or to change something. So yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Hey.
I was wondering what your creative process is. Do you make something every day, or do you let an idea sit for a while, and on the days where you don't feel like doing anything, how do you deal with that? Do you force yourself to work on something?
Okay. The question was about my creative process and if I make something every day, or how do I deal with creating, and if I force myself to make things. This is a constant kind of I don't want to call it an issue, but it's a struggle in terms of creating and calling yourself an artist. Because I don't know, I'm a parent. Parenthood it takes a lot of your time. And often I don't get a chance to create every day, and I'm trying to build in ways where I can, get my responsibilities done, but also have that apply or inspire my work. I don't know if anybody's heard of the idea of habit stacking, where if there's one thing you don't want to do, you have to combine it with something that you really want to do, so that you can kind of do two things at once to get that stuff done. I've been doing a lot of habit stacking, but I don't want to put too much pressure. I want to look at you when I'm talking. I don't want to put too much pressure on having to create something or having to create a masterpiece every day. And I think it's really important to just do a little bit of something, no matter what it is. And so, like I said, collage is really the basis of my practice. And one thing that I found was really helpful was I love tangible material. I love to rip and tear. So some days I'll just go through my junk mail, I'm cleaning up, I'm going through all old magazines, and I'm just ripping out things that are interesting to me. It could be colors or textures or text, and I'll just rip it out. I don't have any plans for it, but I'm curating, I'm creating a collection of things that I like. And then maybe another day, I'm inspired in a different way. Maybe I'll start to combine those materials that I've ripped and torn out a previous day and start to arrange them in a certain way. And then maybe another day, I might feel committed enough to start to glue them down or take pictures of the different combinations. And then maybe another day I don't even do anything at all. Maybe I'm just too involved in other responsibilities. But then another day, maybe I'll make a beat. And then eventually, at some point, I have all these little pieces of things that I've done that I can collage back together to one larger piece. I can mix that beat with, this collage that I put together. I can take some footage that I filmed, or a quick video from my phone. That's another thing. We all have these cameras in our pocket. You can take, if you just tell yourself to take, one picture a day, or to record 10 seconds of video a day, you never know how that could turn into source material for something later. So I've been trying to be not so hard on myself about creating constantly, because I think that in order to create, you got to live life. You got to be inspired by what's happening around you. And then you need some other downtime to be able to have that moment to put things together and to really synthesize that information and find the connections between the things that interest you. So that's one strategy, that I'm working on. Art residencies are a great way to get that dedicated time to create. You know, I've really been appreciative of that as well. Hope that was helpful.
You know, I'm on the same boat. It's like I have this inherent need in the back of my soul. Like I have like a quota system. Like I have to make one thing a day. I have to do a thing.
Yeah.
Just one thing. And it's like if I don't do it, my hands tingle in the back of my head. Like I didn't accomplish anything today.
Right. It's that anxiety of not creating. But I don't know, when I finally do put something together after having not created for a long time, that excitement is so great. Like, whoa, I actually did do something, you know. Or sometimes I'll have a deadline, which is another another way to get stuff done. And I'll be stressing out, thinking about, I have to create all of these things, and I don't know where to start. And usually I get to a point where I'm like, hold on, I've done all the work for this already. I've already been tinkering. I've made these beats. I've made these sounds. And it's just about going back to my library of ripped paper, of little sketches, of things that I've created on the daily to create something larger. So not everything has to be done all at once. It can be, you know, a culmination of different days and ideas and techniques and things. So, yeah, I think we got to be easier on ourselves as artists and, you know, as humans as well. So, yeah.
Can I ask you a question about how rare it is to have an entire family of creatives?
Sure.
And I'm curious what that means when you're sitting around the dinner table together. How does that look?
Yeah, how rare it is? Well, the question, I'm going to repeat the question. Miles asked, how rare is it, you know, to have a family of creatives, and what is a you know, a gathering around the dinner table look like, you know, when everybody in the family is an artist? You know, I probably didn't appreciate it when I was younger as a child. I didn't know, you know, that's just something that was just life. It wasn't until, you know, college that I decided, hold on, I'm an artist. You know, it was that No Knock video, the first video that I showed, that I decided, hold on, I'm making art. Even though I've been creative, you know, throughout. So that decision to even call myself an artist was like maybe a big moment in it. But I think, you know, my parents have always created an environment where creativity was, you know, upheld. You know, this idea that you could document or create an environment or tell a story or you know, archive history, whatever it might be, the idea of being an artist kind of always came first, I think, in all aspects of just like family life, and how we approach problem solving, how we approach, you know, everything. I think that's important because I think my parents were the first in both of their families to ever call themselves artists. And then to kind of like, you know, raise a family of artists was brand new. Or maybe it wasn't, because, you know, we had grandparents and stuff who were quilt makers, or they were doing art in their own ways, but they could never, you know, it was just a time where, you know, we couldn't call ourselves artists. But now, yeah, at the dinner table, we talk about residencies and open calls or techniques or new gear or hardware or techniques or this new project we're working on or this new idea that we want to expand on. And we've collaborated in the past, and we kind of continue to collaborate in different ways. And I think, you know, being able to collaborate and work with family has been a real blessing, and is also just like a mode of survival as well. And so, like, we're a unit, we're a collective, right? We're the Santana project, and, you know, we're kind of all involved in each other's work in some way or another. But yeah, you know, it's only recently that I realized how unique that is, but kind of trying to continue the tradition. We'll see if my son decides to be an artist or not. Currently, he wants to be a baseball player. So, but I'm like, yo, there might be a way for you to incorporate some art into that swing, or, you know, be creative in some way. So, yeah. I hope I answered. Yeah.
Any questions from the room? Is there anything online we missed? I might need a quick little thank you then, if that's
Okay.
in the room.
Any other questions?
I guess I'll be planning my
Okay. Hey, what's up? Jesse, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if your, like, the black man with the movie camera has any reference to, like, Derek Hobbs' Man with the Movie Camera?
It absolutely is referencing that film, which is, you know, very collage-like, you know, I see, in itself. And that's where the name came from. I forget how I came up, you know, with that title, but I think that it kind of speaks to the idea of, like, being black in America, you are always, or we are always considered other, right? It's never just like, we are not the default here. And so kind of screening the original Man with the Movie Camera, it's like looking at this collection of images and sequences of life at that time. And then thinking about my father's archive and just seeing, like, his early cinematography work from when he was first starting off in the film industry just gave me this idea of, like, how do I represent, you know, what he's seeing through his lens, you know, in a way that is using collage and, you know, creativity in a similar way. This project also, you know, is paying homage to a lot of other artists. It's not just a film, but it's also, the larger idea for this project is a video sculpture, something that exists in physical space that uses vintage audio and video technology to display the video art that I'm working on here, and also project it and also make ways for viewers to see themselves in the artwork as well. And so I'm referencing other artists like Namjoon Paik, the way he's built out these humanoid sculptures out of like old televisions. I'm referencing African masquerade traditions as well. And just kind of bringing all of these influences and things that I've been studying and looking at, you know, together. But yeah, the name definitely comes from that original film, yeah. So I'm remixing it in a way. Cool.
Is that the natural lull?
Yeah. You know, I'm cool with awkward silences. You know, sometimes it takes a minute for people to kind of think of the next thing. So, I don't know. If y'all want to take a minute to come up. I like answering questions, too. If y'all got any other questions, feel free. Or we could talk afterward.
We can take you out to the bar later on.
True.
Well, if that's the case, then, Ali, thank you for your time. Obviously, this has been really quite a treat for us, and we're very excited for you to be our first resident using this new upgraded space for us. So any feedback you have after the fact about how we can make it better, we're totally up for it for our future residents.
Of course.
You can find more about Ali's practice via his Instagram. There's a great posting. Thank you very much, Brig, in the chat for a website. This recording will be on YouTube channel by tomorrow that we have. The IEA is grateful for support from the Shine Joseph Endowment, NISCA, and of course, Alfred University. Thank you everyone for attending. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.